4, 5. Okay. And we are live. We have good sound. Give me 1 second. Let me set everything up. So, wait just for 1 quick second. And we will go to the beginning. And let's go clear. Okay. So we're going to go from 2805. Quick second while it loads. And we will fire away.
I I made a mistake with last game because as I got
Okay. Now let me fast forward to 2805 and we can start it at 2712 just so that we are a little bit ahead of the curve and we can continue. So please join us, take notes, 5 pages, 5 paragraphs each, 5 computer spaces in between. 5 revisions, please show the work. If you do not show your 5 revisions, I'm going to assume you use artificial intelligence. You guys will not get credit for it. So, without further ado, here we go. I'm going to be chiming in. Fair use 176 for educational purposes only. We're going to be critiquing. This is courtesy of the manager's playbook. Shout out to Mauricio Ruiz. This is one of Drake's administrators.
it's in all over Manhattan shopping, and I do a few little deals like 97, 98. I do a couple of deals that it's encouraging, right? It's like, wow, I came home from New York. I got a demo deal for this band. I got a publishing deal for that band.
What band was it?
There was a band called Benjamin
Okay.
that I got a publishing deal for.
Okay.
Shout out John Tita, Warren Chapel, rest in peace. Peter Thea helped me on that. And there are a couple others. I can't remember the names now. It was a long time ago.
Okay.
And so I'm doing that for a couple of years, but what changed my life was Nelly Furtado. So I started, when I shot Nelly, people's heads exploded. It's like immediately, it's like, when can we meet her? Where is she? Can we get her on the phone? Get David Geffen on the phone, it was all of that.
As soon as you're playing the music, without a doubt.
Yeah, they listen to the music, they look at the photos she had done for herself in like a cheap photo booth in the airport, and a bio she had written herself.
Really?
Yeah, it was magical. Yeah.
Got you. Bringing Chris back into the mix. Chris Smith.
Yeah, Chris was the manager.
And he's the manager. Does he introduce you to Nelly? Does he put you on to Nelly?
He does.
Okay.
Yeah. And he kind of teased me with her, kind of like, well, maybe I'm going to let you have it. Maybe I won't. And eventually he let me take the recordings down to New York and play them for people.
Got you.
Yeah.
Does Chris have the relationships with people in New York at this point in time? Or
not at that time.
Okay.
I think the Philosopher Kings had done a deal with Columbia in New York, so he had a couple relationships with that. At that time, he wasn't very networked.
Right.
That way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're taking it everywhere. Nelly Furtado, I'm assuming a bidding war kind of ensues a little bit.
I would say that was, and I think she's spoken about this over the years. It was one of the biggest record deals of 1999.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good old-fashioned bidding war.
Okay.
David Geffen versus Madonna versus Jimmy Iovine,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you say Madonna when she's running Maverick, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got Deftones at this point?
I think she did, maybe Prodigy and stuff like that.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And you ended up going with Geffen.
we ended up going with DreamWorks.
DreamWorks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We had done all. It was kind of a weird one. We had done all the shopping and played it for a whole bunch of people. And I was meeting with a friend of mine, Benji Gordon,
Right.
who worked at Interscope.
Wow.
And he was a rock guy.
Yeah.
And as I'm leaving his office, he says, "Well, what else you got?" I said, "Oh, well, I've got this, this young woman from Toronto. It's not your thing. Like, don't worry about it." He said, "Play it for me." Like, he was kind of offended, right? And so I played it for him. He ended up playing it for his friend, this guy, Jake Wisely, who's gone on to do great things in the publishing world. Jake Wisely ends up playing it for his friend at DreamWorks, this woman, Beth Halper. And out of the blue, we get a phone call from Beth Halper, and all of a sudden DreamWorks is in the mix, which brings in David Geffen. That's how David Geffen got onto Descent.
I'm sorry that I'm naive to this or ignorant to this, but this is the same DreamWorks of the film studio?
It is.
Yeah. That was Spielberg and them, right? Who created DreamWorks?
Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen. It was SKG LLC.
And Jobs, no? Was it Jobs? Oh, no, that's okay, right. That's Geffen. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. And that was really, I give Nellie a lot of credit for that too. Out of all the labels she could have signed with, she went with DreamWorks, I think, because they had, Rufus Wainwright and, some really cool artists that maybe weren't necessarily selling multi-platinum, but had a lot of artistic integrity with an executive team that had a history of like artistic integrity and success as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Nelly Furtado, what is it that you saw to be able to identify this woman has all the potential in the world to become a superstar?
She, it was the recording to start.
Okay.
And then when I met her, when I had lunch with her, it was one of those lunches where my first lunch with her, where I'm pitching her, it's like, you gotta let me do this, I'm gonna do that. And I looked down at my watch and 4 hours had gone by. Like her just kind of like talking about her vision for her future and what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was inspiring. She still sparkles to this day. She had it.
New Jersey College 50%
And let's pause right there. So, Mauricio, we're going to hold you to the same standards we want a 4-hour meeting. Wait for this to load. Oh my God, one more.
Yeah, the it factor.
Yeah,
Very intentional. Knew where she was going.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, a real vision.
Intentional,
for
knew where she
herself.
was going.
Yeah.
And a distinctive sound, right? The sound that she came up with Gerald and Brian at that time was sort of revolutionary.
Yeah.
Pop and hip hop kind of mixed together.
Was that track and field?
Track and field, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian and Gerald.
Shout out Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He's over here, right?
Yeah,
So-
I think he's in Vancouver now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. You do the deal. You said it changes your life. When does it change your life?
It changes my life probably right around when it's happening, because it really puts me on the map, as like, who's this Canadian attorney like down here meeting with all our people, and actually off the back of that, I got 3 lawyers from New York tracked me down and just said, hey, we hear you're doing great things. Maybe we can collaborate and do something together. And I ended up forming an alliance with Fred Davis, Clive Davis's son, who was a music attorney at the time. Basically, he would call us his Canadian office. at the time, so we became kind of his Canadian office up in Toronto.
Okay.
And whenever I was in New York, off the back of that Nelly deal, I would be able to work out of their office. I would be able to commiserate or talk to all their lawyers. Fred would introduce me to people. Every time I'd go into New York, he would hear that I was in the office and call me into his office. He'd be like, who do you want to meet this week? I'd be like, oh, I don't know, like Donnie Heiner, or, I'd just like name names, and he'd like get them on the phone and be like, I got the hottest lawyer from Canada in my office. You got time for him? And I'd be like, okay, head down to Donnie Heiner's office. And I'd get to meet all these like huge music executives. He sort of provided a real entree for me across the US music business, introduced me to everybody. And when I walked into the room, I wasn't just some guy in Toronto trying to figure it out. I was Fred's guy.
Right.
It's like, oh, you're Fred's guy.
A little more respect.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we don't need to find this band another lawyer. You're Fred's guy. Because then I was able to pick up Sum 41 off the back of that Nelly deal and the Fred relationship. 3 Days Grace, Sam Roberts, Hot Heat. I kind of went on a run, after that Nelly deal, where it's like every time I went to New York, I was coming home with a record deal for somebody.
That's like the span of what, 24 months? 36 months?
Yeah, 24 to 36, something like that. By the end of like 2002, I think I did like 12. We did like 12 record deals for Canadian recording artists.
That's my shit.
Right.
In the US.
So how are you finding these recording artists in Canada? I mean, I sure you have a network at this point and people are just bringing things to you at this point, or are you still going and seeking it out? And talk to me as well about, if you can.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little in the way it's changed now too,
Okay.
because back in the day, you're right. People would seek me out.
Yeah.
But everybody was seeking me out. So that would mean I'd have 50 CDs, by the end of the month, maybe 100 by the end of the month. So I'd go into my office, usually the fourth Saturday of every month, and sit there with the CDs and like, listen to this one. Nope. Listen to this one. Nope. Listen to this one. Nope. Maybe listen to this one. Oh, Billy Talent. Oh, that sounds kind of good. Let's put that in the shopping pile, And so really, it was an art back then, right? It wasn't. I know lawyers have all these tools now. They control the internet, and something's happening on SoundCloud, they can chase it down and find it. But back then, you had to listen to things, and sort of like what we said about Nelly. It's like, do they have the it factor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are these songs incredible? Are they competitive? Are people going to want to sign this? Is the band good live? All of those things
Are coming into play.
Yeah.
And you're
Live
so you
performance,
just have
if factor,
taste,
got that.
like, just taste involved in this.
I do. I mean, I remind my kids of that all the time. It's like, I got good
They're
ears.
never gonna believe, man.
No, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. But
I do.
I knew some things. I knew that, I always say, like, if your song's not good, I can't help you make a great song. If you heard the songs I've written, I can't write great songs. But if the song is good, then I'm like, oh, that song's good.
Yeah.
I remember, doing all of these meetings. It was fascinating around that time too. Like, these A&R people would play you records. They'd be like, hey, listen to what I'm working on. I remember hearing on one of my first trips to New York, hearing Britney Spears' Baby Hit Me One More Time. Like, before it came out, being like, that's a hit.
Wow.
Macy Gray's I Try.
Wow.
That's a hit. Other things that weren't hits. But I think I have that tool.
Yeah.
I don't have the extra tool that I envy with some executives. It's like, this song's not quite here, but here's what you should do to fix it.
And who to take it to.
Yeah. But if you come to my office and it's ready to go, I can recognize it.
Yeah.
A lot of artists have trouble sometimes, right? Like, they have 20 songs. They're like, I think all of these are incredible. I don't know which ones are the best.
Right.
I'm good at helping you figure out which ones are the best.
And it's interesting with artists, more times than not, they don't really know how to identify the hit record.
Yeah, there's so many stories of that.
What is it about that from your experience? Why do you think, I guess, to your point, it's just they got so many records?
Yeah, I don't know actually, because it's something I feel like I can hear and feel almost instinctively, and like I'm not right all the time,
course, of
but I've
course.
been right enough to kind of build a career off it. But
Yeah.
it's always kind of amused me. It's funny. I was watching the Nickelback documentary last night,
Okay.
and watching them talk about "This Is How You Remind Me." And they recorded that. They were just kind of like, "Oh, I just felt like another song." I'm like, no, that was a one listen. Like something's happening here with this song.
Right. When
When I heard it the first time,
and did you hear it before it came out?
I didn't hear that one before it came out. I just remember the first time I heard it on the radio. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a tsunami.
Right. Wow. Yeah. It's such a different time where it's just like all these executives had to. I mean, you're gambling, essentially. But you as a professional gambler, you beat the house more times than not.
Yeah. Oh, it's betting on the ponies, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you do this for 36, a few years, right? And then all of a sudden you now say, I want to start a label, right?
Yeah. And I can rewind a little bit,
Please.
if the story hasn't been too long already.
No such thing.
Yeah.
No such thing. This is a podcast. You watch the podcast with me and Carly.
People, you can put it on double speed, or you can fast forward through.
We make sure we put chapters in there.
There you go.
For people to go.
Yeah.
But
if you rewind a little bit, so that band I was in the early 90s, our horn section, Dave and Matt, were part of Broken Social Scene. So friends with Kevin Drew and Jimmy Shaw from Metric, all of that crew, they used to come and see my band in the early 90s.
Okay.
So when I first started going to New York, I had no money. I was using my wife's credit card. I was flying connecting flight through Pittsburgh to get to New York, really, really on the cheap. And I was like, hey, I need a place to crash. Like, can I stay at your place? Mm-hmm. So Chris Seligman from Stars, the keyboard player, let me sleep on his floor. I would take, they had this crazy loft in Williamsburg. Before Williamsburg was the place to be, it was the place where you
don't go.
You get off the subway and just kind of run to your apartment. They had this huge loft space, and he would let me crash on his couch. I'd take the cushions off the couch, put them on the floor, and sleep there, and then get up in the morning and go shop records. Come home 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock after being out at the bar, seeing the bands.
Yeah.
Do it all again. And Jimmy and Emily lived down the hall in the same loft. And Jimmy played me the demos for Metric, probably in and around when I was shopping Nelly Furtado.
Oh, wow.
I literally had Nelly Furtado and Metric demos
Crazy.
that I was shopping at the same time. And Nelly went through the roof.
Yeah.
And Metric, we ended up doing a demo deal with Warner Brothers. I don't know if your listeners or if you remember demo deals, if you're too young to remember demo deals, but demo deals would be record labels would say, listen, we're not going to sign you to a big record deal, but we'd like to test drive.
Uh-huh.
We're going to give you $10,000. Go record 3 songs. Let's work on them together. Let's pick a producer, a studio. Let's pick the songs. Let's work together.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll present the records to the company and see if we want to do a real record deal. So we do a demo deal with Warner Brothers. And after about a year of going through that whole process, Warner passes. I'm out in the world. I'm still shopping bands. I probably do Sum 41 by this point. Metric moves to London, and they do a demo deal with Island Records.
Don't just take classes, take charge. Start your comeback today.
This is amazing that they're discussing this because I come from this era. And sometimes, maybe because I'm older and maybe because of the trauma, I try not to think about the dynamics of how my first opportunity was put together, but I really feel like they really dropped the ball. Like 100%, they had no idea how much talent was in their hands at the time. They had a lot of personal stuff going on, and that impacted their judgment. And here I am with the world's biggest catalog in the history of music, in negotiations, going through everything that everybody faces every day.
Same thing happens. They do the demos, they do the dance, they do the trial period. Island passes,
Okay.
and I'm back in the U.S. I'm not sleeping on Chris's couch anymore. I can afford a hotel. I'm
Yeah.
flying direct into New York.
Yeah.
I'm shopping bands and doing like 3 Days Grace and Billy Talent and Sam Roberts and Hot Hot Heat and all these bands. Metric moves to Los Angeles. They do a demo deal with Virgin.
Yeah.
Same thing happens.
Third time.
Do a few songs, do a little showcase, present yourself to the executive team. Virgin passes. This is like 3 years after I've done the Nelly Furtado deal.
Okay.
So this is like maybe 2002. So we're like, okay, this label, Restless, had been chasing the band this whole time. But we wanted a major record deal back when you kind of had to have a major record deal. Or at least we thought. And so we're like, okay, let's do the deal with Restless. We're getting like 110 grand. We can make a record, put some money in our pocket. We'll go, we'll make a record. We'll finally put a record out.
Yeah.
2003 or 2002, I forget what the year, I think it was 2002. A month before the album was coming out, Restless calls and they say, we're not putting the record out because of Napster. We're basically going out of business. We got no money. We're not putting the record out.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So this is like 4 years after all
That's
this.
so fucking
We're not putting
demoralizing.
the record out.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, give us the record. We'll give you an override. We'll put it out ourselves. They're like, no, give us $110,000 and we'll give you the album back. And I don't think I've ever been more upset on a phone call than I was at that point with them. But it's just like, this band has gone through so much for 5 years to try and fucking get this thing off the ground. I can't believe you're doing this to them. They wouldn't give us the record back.
No way.
And I didn't have $110,000,
Yeah.
nor did the band.
Right.
So I went to my wife. I said, look, I'm going to take $35,000. I'm going to start a record label. I'm going to sign this band Metric. And I can't go to my grave not knowing, whether this band, should exist or,
Right.
should get their
You
shot.
got to get it out there, at
Yeah.
least, at the very least. It's
Yeah.
your own money you're taking out at this point.
Yes. Yeah. My wife, I still don't know how to go into my own bank accounts to this day. She said, that's it. $35,000, $1 more.
Yeah.
And so we're on the road to making a record together. And I go to Pop Montreal in 2003, and I meet with Donald Tarleton, who's a concert promoter, owner of Aquarius.
Okay.
Signed Corey Hart, signed Sash Jordan, signed Sum 41. He's an incredible concert impresario.
Okay.
He's a legend in Montreal, concert promoter, partner with Michael Cole and
Okay.
legend. We shake hands. He says, listen, why don't we do it together? I've got all these sort of central services here, royalties, accounting. I got a little marketing team. I got distribution. I've got access to government funding. Why don't we do this together? And then we'll put even more energy behind the band. And that's how Last Gang started. We made the first Metric album and we put it out in, I think it was May 2004. 20,
Right,
21
just a
years
few
ago.
months before my album
You know,
came
that
out.
first record, I mean, it didn't come out and explode immediately, but it was like the little engine that could.
Yeah.
And this was right around the time
Got the
when
murcielago on them.
Pitchfork really mattered. You know, the blogosphere.
Right.
They was mad at the Diablo. The murcielago
The social scene
hurt
off
their
the back
feelings.
of an incredible
Iggy.
Pitchfork
Pam pam
review
pam pam.
became, you know,
Yeah.
big business.
Right.
And we kind of set off the tailwinds of that because Metric
But everything in
was
life
associated
happens
with
for a
the
reason,
social
because
scene.
now I
That's
could
right,
get
we play with them and tour with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
a phenomenal.
That's right. Arts and Crafts and Last Gang were both kind of kicking off and
Right.
Amazing.
starting around the same time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What is it that you think that makes people want to do business with you, even though you didn't have the experience of running a little record label?
I think
It's
in
good people.
Metric's case, you know, we run out of options, you know, to be honest. It's we did 3 demo deals, we did a record deal, and we, you know, by that point I had shopped them to everybody and their mother, right? Because I'm like, hey, I got some 41, I got 3 days.
Mauricio, you got to shop it to everybody.
Fucking Metric, like, sign these guys. Come on,
Yeah.
help a guy out.
Oh yeah.
Nobody couldn't get anyone to do it, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't like they were talking to 3 other record companies. They're like, listen, I'm gonna get some money together, and now I'm doing this thing with Donald to add some more weight behind it. Like, let's make a record. Let's get some money from Video Fact. Let's make a video. Let's try to get on the edge. Let's, you know.
That's remarkable to me, because what I'm hearing is you're not giving up on this band, even though you have Nelly Furtado, even though you have Sum 41, you have Sam Roberts, you have all these clients. Things are going great for you, but you're still putting everything that you can, all of your energy into this one thing. Not as if you didn't. I mean, it's not like you have a whole bunch of time, an abundance of time, but you're figuring this out for an act that has been turned away 4 times essentially at this point. So that just shows the perseverance of who you are and the character of who you are, and it's a good reason why you're still here in the business to this day, doing it at such a high level.
See, it's a bit of stubbornness, you know. It's sort of somebody tells me I can't do something. And I really, really believed in that band. I believed in them as people, and I really fucking loved the music.
Yeah.
I thought they were incredible, and it just it's like I said, when I trust my ears, when I hear it, I'm like, this is good. I know this is good, you know, and I couldn't go to my grave not finding out. It's like, I got to put this out in the world with these guys and find out what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so it happens out of necessity, essentially, Last Gang.
It did, 100%.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the name comes from. It's a Clash song, but we're the last gang in town.
Right.
You know?
But that Last Gang, for those who don't know, in Canada becomes an incredible independent record label. You guys do a lot of great business. And yeah, I remember hearing about Last Gang Records for just the coolest shit. You know what I mean? From in Canada.
Yeah.
I very respectfully, I just never thought there was a lot of cool record labels independent. Just in my younger age in Canada, and then coming across Last Gang and the acts that you had on there, I thought these guys are amazing. And that's kind of when I started to find out who you were. And you're like, who's Chris Taylor? Wait, he's also a lawyer? I'm like, what? The guy that's got the coolest label in Canada is a fucking lawyer? What? I mean, it's blowing my mind. And this is probably like 2007, maybe 2008. Are you
Right there.
at that point still independent, or have you moved it over to E1?
07,
Still
I'm
independent.
circling Khaled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the
So
South.
2004, we do the first
Not the first time, but
Metric Records, and then
trying
we
to
signed
secure the
Left
deal.
Above.
my brother fucks that one up. Unbelievable. People from this generation trigger those memories that sometimes we suppress, you know? I look for every crevice, every opportunity. This is throughout my career. I'm a young person at this time. And I just remember, is it worth it now to have my catalog? 100%. I am grateful that God has given me that opportunity. But, still got a lot of work to do. This is still day one.
Right.
Crystal Castles, Mother.
From above, yeah.
Yeah, those are the kind of the first four, and that's all trucking along. I didn't do the E1 deal to 2016.
Sorry, so what you did do at that time, it's like 06, 07, is you did the TKO deal, or you started another practice?
Yeah, the law firm. I left. We started our new law firm in 2006.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How are you juggling law firm president / CEO / founder of Last Gang Records at that time?
It was stressful. I'm not gonna lie. There'd be mornings I'd go in the office. I'd just be like, okay, yesterday I started at 5:30. Today I'm gonna start at 4:30, and go into the office. And some days I walk in there. You've been to our office in Toronto,
Liberty, yeah.
these great atrium, like these, it's like you're in like a greenhouse, kind of like this great space. But I'd sit in the middle of the office and I'd just cry and be like, "Oh my God, this is so hard. This is so fucking hard." Oh,
Wow.
I like execs that have a sense of humor.
Working out. You know what saved me? I ended up with that law firm. We pulled together. It was a great group of lawyers. I had Miro Abala, who's still there. Jason Klein, who's now went on to run Anthem. He's the CEO there. Stacy Mitsopoulos, who had like really, really cool taste and was kind of my wing person for like all those deals that I was doing. It was like a really great group of lawyers, and we had a really great law practice. I was able to scale that. I was able to represent so many artists.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, well, I'm not available today, but Jason's going to help you with your detailed work, or Miro's going to help with this, or Stacy's going to help with some of these things. If there were big things happening, renegotiations, litigation, change in management, new publishing, the big forks in the road of your career, I would be involved in those. But then the great lawyer team that I had would help me service all of that, which allowed me to have the time to spend on the record company, at least for a while.
Okay.
But I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. Once Drake walked into my life in I think it was 2007.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of
2007, the same window where I was,
called Drake all the time.
I'm trying to tell you, man. God knows exactly what he's doing.
Okay.
Because then, by the time I got to the West Coast,
2007,
he's dealing with my peoples, and he's right there.
08.
And people are just hating. I'm negotiating. Interscope is right there. We battling. Dan Payton comes into my career.
When 40.
The time will come.
To my office.
08, 09, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
In and around that time.
Yeah.
Before So Far Gone.
Before So Far Gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know what I remember now, because I remember he came to my office and he said, "Hey, I'm putting out a new mixtape. I'm having a mixtape party tonight." And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I'm Chris Taylor. I'm not going to a fucking mixtape party. And that was
that a mixtape party?
So Far Gone. And some of the younger people in my office came in the next day and they said,
And they went?
Yeah, they said, LeBron James was at the party.
That's right.
I'm like, I better pay a little more attention to this Drake business here.
Got you. So that, okay.
Yeah. No, but he had a sparkle too. Like on first meetings. Very, you've been around him. Very.
Not like that, to be honest with you.
Super impressive.
Yeah.
Individual.
Seldomly, I haven't been around him extensively, but a lot of people in that camp, obviously, I have, spent some time with.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what I hear all the time, that you could tell that there was something there. But in all fairness, a lot of people in Canada passed on him, and what was it again? What do you see in him in that moment where you're like, no, this kid's different?
It didn't, you know, remember with MySpace,
Right.
MySpace used to I think it was like every Monday morning or whatever, it would be like top unsigned artists in Canada. And there'd be a whole list every week. Sometimes it would change.
Yeah.
But Drake was at the top of that list for a long time. I was always kind of like, how is this fucking Degrassi
Right.
rapping kid on here? Like, I don't get it. Like, where are all these followers coming from? I really didn't get it until I got to sit down with him.
Okay.
And
The grassy nigga, that's where they came
I
from.
was like, oh, wait a minute. This guy is like
G code.
paying attention to everything. Smart.
Right. Dialed in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Charming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something, is that a character trait that you want to
Charming.
see in artists that you're working with? That they have the ability to communicate their vision, that they're smart, that they, you know, obviously it drives one thing. But
It's kind of that can be really exciting. I mean, there's other artists that come to my office that are just a fucking complete mess. And I'm like,
but they're great.
I'm just like, I'm so in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Crystal Castles came to my office for the first time.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've, you know that, do you know their first album? They have that sort of iconic photo. They're both kind of
Looking down.
looking at their shoes. You
Right.
can't see their face or whatever.
Yeah.
Alice, like they sat on a couch across from me, and then Alice sat like this almost through the whole meeting. I was like, what is happening? And
But you're enthralled. You're like,
yeah, and Claudio was just like talking a mile a minute about the whole master plan and everything else. So it's different things with different artists, different combinations of chemistry that
Yeah.
just become it, you know?
Yeah. I want to go back a little bit because you were talking about scaling Last Gang and scaling the legal practice. Is the scale of the legal practice happening organically? Because when you say you assemble a bunch of lawyers together, it sounds like you got all these people, you put them on salaries. Is that what happened, or was it little by
Yeah.
little?
That was the crying part. That was the first, like when I did leave my old firm and wanted to set up a new firm,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm paying for the office space.
Right.
I'm bringing in all these lawyers. You know, Jason was at Castles on Bay Street, and Miro was at another firm. Like, I had a responsibility to fill their plates, you know?
And you knew all these people prior, obviously.
I didn't know Jason that well, but
Okay.
I knew Miro, and Stacy came with me from the other firm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're funding this all yourself. This is all your capital, no the capital coming in from.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you have Last Gang going as well. And how big is Last Gang at this
And
point?
Last game is
Translation, a few million.
Yeah.
You know, we've done a few deals, and some of the cash flow from last game helped pay for the law firm, or the law firm change
Right.
in 2006.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I'm just personally curious of how this
Yeah.
kind of came about.
Yeah, no, I didn't have like a rich family or trust fund or anything for
Yeah.
that. My parents have been really great, and they're awesome and really supportive, but I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I had to kind of build it.
Yeah. No, I wasn't even assuming that. I thought maybe there was some other capital or something, you know.
Yeah, no investors or outside. I mean, the investment on the Last Gang side was Donald, so we were 50-50 partners.
Right. That was it.
Yeah, and he did put some money into the mix, and like Factor and different kind of government funding sources.
Of course.
Yeah, that was invaluable. I
Yeah.
mean, all of that. Factor, Star Maker, Video Fact, everything that built the foundation of Last Gang.
So Drake comes into the picture, takes away a lot of your attention because it's a rocket ship, the business of Drake.
Yeah.
And I've said this multiple times on the podcast, it changes the trajectory of Canadian music, or at least in hip hop, but
The
really
Drake effect, yeah.
very real. But then you go and you're doing that now that brings in, again, it's kind of maybe like the Nelly Furtado situation. Again, it's like Chris Taylor again is representing one of the biggest artists at the time, new artists. And so you're getting more people coming your way, but then at some point, you now step away from the legal side, or maybe not step away, but now you're E1 comes into the picture at some point, right?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, you know, if there's lessons to be learned, I made a mistake with Last Gang, because as I got busy with Drake, instead of taking the money from Last Gang and kind of putting it back into the business and staffing it with, you know, young adults, it was more or less staffed by interns.
Oh,
And
okay.
underserviced that part of the business. You know, as those acts were getting bigger and bigger, I should have been providing more and more service at a high level,
Yeah,
but I didn't do that, and they were upset with me.
yeah, they feel neglected
Yeah.
at that point, right? When that's
Yeah.
happening.
And if I had to do it all over again, I would have tried to find people like you to bring into my orbit to like help me run this business, because I'm going to France with Drake, and I'll be back in a week. But
Yeah.
I need someone here to like be an adult in the room to run this Last Gang business.
Right.
So we had some hiccups at that point.
That's important, I think, because, you know, if you want to get great people, you got to spend the money, right? But it's a good return on the investment, because
Spend the money.
Got
Got you, Mauricio.
Your assets, who are your bands. and
Name your
artists, so
price.
they're feeling
I got a
protected,
figure
they're
in
feeling
mind. I
loved,
wanna
their
see how
business
much
is
you
growing
gonna
at the
ask
same
for.
rate as the label is growing. Otherwise, yeah, absolutely. These are human people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if they don't feel like they're getting the best services, it all falls on the person that's running the show.
And if you look at, you know, I know this is a management-oriented podcast.
Not really,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's more business. That's
Yeah.
why I'm asking about legal. But I guess manager's playbook.
Yeah, manager's playbook. I mean, the ones who have played the playbook the best, if that's the right phrase, they've all built incredible support around them. You know, the great managers in our business have incredible staff
Yeah,
that work alongside them, you know.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. Which you now have, and we'll get to that. But I do want to ask you, because you brought it up, and it is the first time it's brought up on this podcast, but I don't think people here in America really understand what the Drake effect was in Canada.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that a bit?
I'll tell you about the Drake effect,
Please.
because, you know, I was coming out of being in a reggae ska band.
Yeah.
I was sort of hip hop adjacent, and I represented so many Canadian rap artists that I took to New York, along with all my alternative rock bands and everybody else. I was shopping Brass Monk, Chauclair, Citizen Kane, Ghetto Concept.
Crazy. Wow.
You name it. I was
Wow.
going down to New York.
I didn't know that.
I was like, this Brass Monk shit. They're like, no, bro. Like,
No.
you need a cosign. Like, you don't understand hip hop. I'd be like, I think this is really good. Like,
It was agile. They didn't like. That's who it was.
well,
No, I'm just
now we
joking.
know,
I'm
yeah.
I love Agile. Shout out to Agile.
Yeah.
Good people.
Love that.
Amazing producer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always
Yeah.
break each other's balls.
But he was a problem.
Probably the least problematic person.
Yeah.
we had.
But all that changed overnight, right? Like Drake happens in you know, maybe that it is somewhat related to the Lil Wayne cosign.
For sure.
That kind of gives him credibility.
Yeah.
Plus he's like super talented. Plus he's got a great team around him, and everything kind of happens. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, wait a minute, like maybe this Canadian stuff isn't so goofy after all.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, I mean, you saw it, right? You remember when, like, even Outkast was coming up. Like, they didn't want the South to happen, let alone the North.
There's that famous clip of them at the Source Awards in '95.
Yeah.
Where Andre, they win Best New Artist, and Andre's like,
And people are booing.
they're booing, and he's like, the South got something to say.
That's right.
And everything changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just never, we didn't really get our shot until Drake. And now the North's got something to say. And now you've got 40, Boy Wonder, really that producer ecosystem that just explodes and blossoms around that. And credit to Drake as well, right? Because when he does his deal and everybody's saying, okay, well now you get to work with Rick Rubin and Timberland and Drake's like, no, I'm working with my guys,
So important.
you know, and that just fertilized the whole community. I mean, it's still paying dividends to this day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you would think that that's the natural step to go and work with the Just Blazes, the like you said, the Rick Rubins, but
Yeah, happens all the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
But he knew he had chemistry. But it's kind of like a foreign thought at that time to stick with your guys. Must have been a lot of push against him doing that, right? And staying with his core
Yeah.
group, which changes the dynamic of Toronto in the biggest way.
Totally. Yeah. And I would say, yeah, well, I wasn't in the middle of it every day, but I did get a sense that there was heavy pressure. I think it was almost like, oh yeah, well, of course, now you're going to go work with like all these famous Platinum Plus producers
Yeah,
in America.
yeah,
And he just didn't do that.
yeah,
You know, eventually he's worked with almost everybody, but you know, the
for sure.
40s touched almost all the rest.
He's the one helping craft the entire sound. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And I guess you have an understanding of the Drake effect at a very, I would say, intimate level, because a lot of those producers, they were coming to you to help with the deals as well, right?
Because I was working with Drake, it was hard for me. Like I couldn't represent The Weeknd. I couldn't represent the producers because I would be in a conflict.
Okay.
I would love to represent all of them, but you know, I wasn't able to represent 40, you know.
Okay.
I was always Drake's guy.
Fair.
So I was on the opposite side of the table.
I love that you're able to explain that, because it just, the level of importance that he's had to Toronto and the music scene is just it's hard to put in words, right? But it's a very real thing.
100%.
When are you then all of a sudden approached by E1?
I started talking to them in and around 2012.
Okay.
I was
5
on the
years later.
board of Keras with the founder of E1, Darren Troop. And he started taking me out for coffee, I think, after like Keras meetings. And then there was one dinner in 2012 where he said, listen, why don't I buy that label you have? And why don't you come in and run the music division at Entertainment One? And I think my initial response was, well, I'm the lawyer for Drake. I'm not going to do that, because I love what I'm doing now.
Mhm.
But we kept talking and talking. The more that I looked at it, as I did see the opportunity, to move to Los Angeles, opportunity to get closer to film and television as well, because E1 was largely a
Right.
film and TV business and a family and brands business with a little music piece. But I knew Darren was super passionate about the music space, and it kind of kept it on life support through the Napster. I call it the Napster winter, right? From 2002
That's a good way to put
to
it.
2016, record sales were going like this and people were losing their jobs.
Left and right.
But somehow he kept a music division going that was probably just kind of breaking even on life support because he loved music. He started with a record store in Halifax, Nova Scotia, right? 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I could tell I would learn a lot from him. And so
What was something that you learned from him that was pivotal to your career?
patience, I think he'd always say, listen, there's a price for every deal, and that's the price I'm willing to pay. I'm not going to pay more because other people are willing to pay more. And having that kind of discipline, I don't always have that discipline, but it is something in the back of my mind, when I'm trying to do deals and try to stay patient with things. Very patient, really great leader, lead by example.
Okay.
Work hard, play hard, have a good time, but be serious about your business.
Yeah.
And take care of your people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so now he brings you on board. How long does that take roughly for you to come on board? And
It was we negotiated, I walked away, he came back, we negotiated, I walked away.
Oh, wow.
And then he came back a third time. They really, initially he wanted me to close the law firm basically. It's like, if you're gonna come to E1, then you've got to close your law firm, take your name off the door, let the partners take the practice.
How come?
I think I could understand that. If you're hiring somebody and you're gonna pay them a lot of money,
Yeah.
you're like, well, I don't want you to have a side hustle here. Like, you're running the music division of a publicly held company.
Yeah.
I want you to be dedicated to what you're doing. And really, for me, I was just like, well, if I don't like it after 6 months, I want to be able to go back.
Did you communicate that to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was all. It was like, look, I don't want to be a lawyer and a music executive. I want to do this job, and I'm going to give it 100%. But
The music executive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but if I can, that the lawyers and the staff and the clients, those are like family to me, right?
Right.
So really moving on from that was very difficult, but I was able to keep my name on the door. I was able to do some limited work for clients in the transition. So I had a list of clients I was able to represent.
Uh-huh.
And so that was good. That was kind of the happy medium. That was the last thing. He's like, okay, you can do that. And then we signed off, and I moved there in March 2016.
Yeah, and you guys had that massive office over there on Richmond.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
E1 is like, it's an independent company, I guess.
Don't just take classes, take charge.
Take a quick break. I'll be right back. Everybody stretch, hydrate, grab your snack. Whew.
At the time, it was kind of noted as that, but it never felt independent to me. Well, you said it's publicly traded.
It's an independent but publicly traded.
How does that
Yeah.
work?
I think the sense is, at least on a record label side, there's three majors that
Yeah.
are acknowledged as the majors:
Yes.
Sony, Universal, and Warner. And anything else is considered independent.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
Good, sure, why not?
yeah. It gets a little muddy.
Yeah,
What's independent, what's not. Is Concord independent? Is BMG independent?
I say
I
no.
don't. Yeah,
At this point, you go
Yeah.
to those offices and you see there's 100, 200 staff. It's just like, no, I don't think so.
yeah. No, those are feeling like mini majors.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, yes. Now, so you're running the music division over here, and how are you taking it to the next era of music? How are you building this business? What are you doing to implement, your strategy, your thought process to this building here?
I had a 5-point plan when I
Okay.
started at E1. So one was I wanted to build a management division. So we were able to, we had probably about 150 artists under management eventually. I wanted to build a publishing division because they didn't have one. So we built a publishing division, started signing writers. I wanted to build a bridge between film and TV because they had a music division and a film and TV division and a family and brands business, but they never talked.
Very siloed.
So we would do things like put out a Peppa Pig album, for the first time, do the music and soundtracks for some of the films, do music supervision for some of the film and TV projects. So really started to integrate those businesses. 4 was wanted to do some mergers and acquisitions work. So wanted to roll up some smaller companies. We were able to buy Dual Tone, which had the Lumineers and a bunch of really great bands. And then eventually we bought a company called Audio Network, which was a production music library we bought for $250 million.
Oh shit.
In 2019. So we were on our way. And then 5, I think, was just more like a general idea of excellence, you know, trying to really sign the best artists and really go for it and kind of change the complexion maybe of what E1 was previously known for, you know, which was maybe more known as, you know, 50 Cent at one point called it the, you know, the graveyard of the music business or something like that.
On the radio when it was Koch.
Yeah. It wasn't a desirable place to be at and a desirable place to be signed.
Right.
And I wanted to change the complexion of that. And I'd say we're on our way with all of that in a really serious way. I was having a great time. And then Hasbro bought the company in 2019. And that, you know, we weren't quite sure how they felt about the music business one way or another. So it took a little while for us to get our bearings in the building. And I'd say we did have our bearings by February 20th, we had our bearings. It was like, Chris, you're the music guy. You're running all the music stuff.
Shit.
Anything music, there was like a chart they put out, intercompany, showing all the duties and the leads on all the different business areas. And then COVID happened in March 2020. And that changed the complexion of everything all over again.
Is there a question of how you don't know how they feel about the music business because the worth of it is just it's far less than the worth of the film and television?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that. And it's interesting because COVID valuations on music businesses really kind of got into the news media with hypnosis.
Exploded,
all of a sudden people are like, wait a minute, music was like going out of business. It's like, no, that was 4 years ago. Now music is an asset that's streaming every day in your sleep. Non-correlated assets, as they like to call them. But during the purchase of E1 by Hasbro, music was just a side topic, you know, that I don't think anybody really paid attention to. They wanted the film and TV business because they wanted instead of hiring third parties to make and develop their filmed content, they're like, well, let's buy a company that does that and bring that in-house. And then also with the family and brands business, they could be, well, let's grab Peppa Pig and PJ Masks and let's make the toys and games in and around that IP. It was really made a lot of sense, total strategy. And then it's like, oh yeah, there's a music division. It's like, I don't know, we'll figure out what we're going to do with that later. They've got Death Row and other things in there that might not make a lot of sense for us. So we'll get to that later. But eventually we were able to become part of the strategy. You know, like I said, like Brian Goldner, who was the CEO of the company there, I think was a fan of what we were doing. And, you know, him and Darren were working on the larger vision for the company. It was just, COVID just killed us. You know, you buy a company for $4 billion, partly so that it can make and produce and develop film and TV content for you. All of a sudden they can't do that. It's like, okay, we don't know when we're going to be able to film anything ever again.
Very uncertain time.
The most uncertain time.
The most in our lifetimes.
In our lifetime.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, you know, they're like, okay, well, you know, we have debt. We bought this company for $4 billion. We have debt, have dividend obligations we want to continue with. We got to sell something. And then somebody at some point said, hey, you know, the music business is worth a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then at what point is that, 2021?
That would have been the summer of 2020.
When that conversation starts to happen.
Yeah,
Very quietly.
we're in the midst of COVID. Again, understandable, right? It's like
Yeah, of course.
we've got to sell something.
Yeah.
You know, we don't. The sky is falling here,
Yeah.
and oh my God, the music business is worth a lot.
Right.
We could probably, so they came to me and said, listen, we're going to sell the music business. Can you help us lead a process to do that? And we started into that in August 2020.
Okay. Are they coming to you because they know you also have the legal experience to figure it out?
Not so much, because they have great lawyers and in-house lawyers.
Okay.
And even I would say my lawyering skills are more music industry focused, and I've had more exposure now to M&A
Yeah. Okay.
now than I had at that time. But it was more about, I knew how to sell the business. If someone wanted to buy the business, what's attractive about it? Why is it worth a lot of money?
And so why is it worth a lot of money? Can you take us through the process of that?
Catalog.
Yeah, I mean, the first and foremost, it's when it's a bit of that hypnosis pitch, right? It's like the world of streaming music is growing. There's more and more subscribers every year. I don't know when that's going to stop, but it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that just means a bigger and bigger pot of money for recorded IP, music publishing and recorded assets. We were unique in that we were globally scaled. We had offices in London, Toronto, we had some people in Miami, Nashville, LA. So we weren't a mini major like Concord or BMG, but we could be. We were on the verge of being that with a little extra gas in the tank and a bit of an M&A strategy. We could buy some of the things that those companies were buying, BMG and Concord. We could buy some of those assets and really kind of grow on top of the platform that we had built.
And you just did one anyways. You did one, or you did the licensing deal. You said the M&A with
We had bought that company, the Production Music Library.
That's right.
Audio Network.
Right.
And that was an attractive piece of the music business as well. It's like, wow, look at this business. This
Yes.
is a really well-run, operated production music library company. So that was an attractive part of it. Our management business, I think management, and we'll probably talk some more about that, but management is more and more becoming a real power position in the music business. Well-resourced, experienced managers can do a lot and build really great businesses for themselves. We had a great publishing business. We had a music department. We had the Death Row asset at the time. So we had the Lumineers, and that dual tone asset. We had Last Gang. So all of that together was something everybody wanted to kick the tires on and take a look at.
Mm-hmm. And how long does that deal take to get done?
It starts in August. We started putting together the deck, and then the announcement on the deal was April. So that was, I don't know how many months that is. That's like 9 months, something like that.
Patience, like you said. You gotta be patient through that process.
Yeah, and sometimes it can take longer than that, but that's
For sure.
That's pretty typical for deals of that size.
Yeah. And so you end up doing this deal for $385 million to, I don't want to get this incorrect, BlackRock, is it?
Blackstone.
Blackstone, sorry.
Yeah.
Not BlackRock, Blackstone. What made
Mauricio, you are a fucking genius. You telling me this is the man behind the fucking deal? That's the dude. This him. 387 million, Mauricio, it's him. It is him. Yo, I don't even know his name, but it's him. Because BlackRock wants their division. Hypnosis just beat him to the punch. And really, Blackstone is trying to get more than 10% of market cap, which is what they have by comparison to Blackstone, I mean, to BlackRock. Yo, that right there, Marish, I don't know what to tell you, B. I don't know what to tell you, B. We got a huge family, bro. We need to make this happen, yo. Now it makes sense. So the merger, so he threw in E1, he threw in Koch, he threw in Last Gang, and whatever other assets, whatever their catalogs were. Plus he had Drake on the side. That's crazy, yo.
Was that the highest?
Hold
offer?
on. Let me go back. That's a good one right there. I want you guys to write your paper on that. 124. 124.
And how long does that deal take to get done?
It starts in August. We started putting together the deck, and then the announcement on the deal was April. So that was, I don't know how many months that is. That's like 9 months,
Okay.
something like that.
Patience, like you said. You
Yeah,
gotta be patient through that process.
yeah. And sometimes it can take longer than that, but that's
For sure.
that's pretty typical for deals of that size.
Yeah. And so you end up doing this deal for $385 million
385.
to, I don't want to get this incorrect, BlackRock, is it?
Blackstone.
Blackstone, sorry.
Yeah.
Not BlackRock, Blackstone. What made you go and do the deal with them? It's just, was that the highest offer? Was it, what came from that? And how, like, was it debt financing? Was it, how did that?
Ultimately, trying to think about how much of this information is publicly available. Hasbro owned the company. I did not. So ultimately, it wouldn't have been my decision on where we went, although that was where I wanted to go.
Yeah,
Out of
okay.
all the people that were looking at us. So
Okay.
I was thankful for that. But Hasbro, you'd have to ask them exactly why Blackstone and not someone else. I would assume they paid the most money.
Yeah, I guess it comes
Yeah.
down to at the end of the day, especially if they're letting go
Yeah,
of the
because
asset.
I literally, I'll just leave it at that.
Can I ask, and we can take this out if anything, but like, why was that the preferred place for you?
If I always thought if Sony bought us, for example, or Universal or some other big record company bought us, they'd be like, well, we already have 5 Chris Taylors. We don't need a Chris Taylor, and we actually don't need these 200 staff either, because we can just take the asset, put it into our mulch machine or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And away you go, right? Get the cost savings, get rid of all the people.
Yeah.
Take the asset, put it into the machine, and just make the money
Turn
from
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Versus where with someone like a Blackstone, they didn't have a pre-existing record company to kind of do that with. So
Right.
I thought the opportunity would be with them.
That's because you still stay on board for a few years, right?
Yeah.
So you remain CEO, and it gets rebranded Monarch at that time.
Yeah, as part of the sales process that we couldn't be E1 anymore.
Yeah.
We became Monarch.
And you're part of that project. You're the key man in this situation.
Yeah, I think I came up with the name and the logo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. You're there for 3 years. You step away. Not to fast forward the story.
Yeah.
But you then step away. Then you decide in 2024 you want to start in management. Hall of Fame artist. What makes Chris Taylor start a management company in 2024? Why do you do this to yourself?
Yeah, I've had some other friends that ask me that as well. Terry McBride teases me about this.
Okay.
And I tell them, I say, I love it.
Okay.
I love it. And it's not all about the straightest line to making as much money as possible, but I love it. I love working with artists directly. I love being aligned with them, and I love being on the same side of the table.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from being an artist. That comes from being an artist advocate as a lawyer. It's like I like when you're the record label, it's adversarial.
Yes.
Half the time, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
more than half the time.
yeah. So I like being in the manager seat, and I do really think, as I alluded to earlier, there are so many tools at your disposal these days. I know everybody likes to say, well, you can do everything yourself. It's like,
Right.
calm down. You can't do everything yourself,
Uh-huh.
but you can do a lot more yourself now than you could 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And really good managers, like Jonathan Daniel at Crush, or Corin Capshaw at Red Light, or the
Jonathan
Azovs,
Daniel.
or Scooter Braun, or with what they're doing at Remus, like those are all like proof is in the pudding.
Right.
Can
Shout out to
managers build
Remus.
really big,
Shout out to Remus. Y'all can put up a
businesses?
bid too.
Yes, now more than ever. And you can own assets if you're managing Drake, or you're managing Snoop Dogg, or you're partners with someone like a Jay-Z. There's real assets to own alongside managers. Ted Chung taught me that. Snoop's old manager. And he said, listen, you be a partner with the artist, as opposed to the manager who could potentially be fired any day.
Right.
It's like you're owning assets along the way.
Well, owning assets, not necessarily in terms of the music, it can be there, but if they're already off and going, right, they've already built a business.
Yeah.
Then there's across other verticals, whether it's a merch product or if it's a toy or whatever it may be, right? This is what we're talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is a quote from an interview that you did, and to what you're talking about, you say in this interview, look behind the curtain. Management companies are providing a bunch of services that historically record labels have done. So, in what you're saying, it's more than just now a traditional, I would assume, and maybe there's a bit of that, but with Hall of Fame artists, it's not just looking at it from the commission 10, 15, 20%. Artists that are coming on board, there's also a partnership and an equity, because I think, again, you said this, but really maybe driving the point home on this is managers are really helping build the ecosystem of the artist.
Yeah.
And more than ever, it feels like the dynamics have changed, where you don't necessarily need the record label, but you do need people who are very good at what they do, and you need lots of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the dynamic has changed, where there's another way to look at the business for the manager, where there's more equity and there's more skin in the game.
100%. You think about it this way, it's like Spotify, Apple, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is changing every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There's something new going on with just those 6 platforms, not to mention, Snapchat, and you could add another 10.
Right.
It's changing every day.
Yeah.
You as an artist, you gonna track that every day? Like, what's the new hashtag that TikTok's using? What's the new dimensions that Instagram is using in terms of their photos? Like, staying on top of that and being an expert in that requires someone to be doing that all day, every day. And good management companies are bringing people into their orbit to sort of monitor that and monitor those platforms, every day.
Yeah.
But when you look at even a good record label, major record labels in particular, it's like, okay, how are you mastering that in Australia, Southeast Asia, the UK, and all around the world? I think you still need those record label partners who are scaled that way to provide that support. But you can get a lot of things going and have a lot more control and a lot more of the back end yourself as a manager and recording artist than you could 10 years ago.
Do you think, though, as a management company would say, Hall of Fame artists, is that where the future could potentially lead to, where you don't need to sign to a major label and you can have boots on the ground in all of these other territories?
I think it's a little tough to have boots on the ground in all these other territories. So I think there's still a reason why Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Drake are working with major record labels because of some of that.
Gotcha.
Then again, someone like Taylor Swift, she's not signing a 7-album life of copyright 18-point royalty deal anymore.
Yeah.
She's doing maybe 1 or 2 albums on like a 90-10, or I can't imagine how crazy her deals are and the split is. She's maintaining all the control and the majority of the margin.
Yeah.
And really that's a market share play at this point.
For the label.
Yes.
Talk to me about market share. There's probably nobody that I've had in this chair that understands market share more than you would.
Market share gets most important on a couple different levels. When there are black box payments that get paid out, there's these funds that are sort of like in the air amounts that aren't claimed that need to get distributed throughout the music industry. They're often distributed based on market share. So let's say there's $100,000 of undistributed money that needs to be claimed by the industry. Those 3 major companies are getting the majority of that because of their market share. So they're maintaining that market share. Because that's one of the main reasons. Also, market share allows them to push around people like Spotify,
Right.
Having larger market share, having Taylor Swift most of the time allows you to push around TikTok.
Lets you dictate the terms.
Yeah.
Which in this case would be Universal and Lucian Grange.
Yeah.
Right.
And TikTok's not sitting there going, well, you've only got Taylor Swift on a 98.2 deal or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Lucian doesn't have to worry about that. It's like, no, I got Taylor Swift.
That's all that matters.
And you don't get her.
Yeah.
Although in the case of TikTok, she kind of went around them anyway and, kind of thwarted their strategy in that regard, right? I mean, it's part of the reason why they had to throw in the towel ultimately on the TikTok argument.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because somehow, some way, Taylor was still doing business with TikTok when everybody else at Universal wasn't allowed to.
That's right.
Because she's so big.
Yeah, that's right. And so big that you kind of turn a blind eye to that at the label. Like, all right, cool, go do your thing. Because you don't want to piss off that artist or that person.
The dynamic and the power dynamic in the industry is really, really changing, day because of that. As artists get more and more established and have more and more power and have more and more tools at their disposal, they're able to drive tougher deals with these major labels who used to be able to get a lot of rights in return for what they put on the table.
And that's where the power and the dynamic is shifting over to the managers.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you said something interesting because you said there's a black box, right? Which, just I want to be clear, you're talking about $100,000 as like an example, but that's not the real example. We're talking about billions, hundreds of millions,
millions for sure.
That's the true business.
Yeah, okay.
That's the true business. This is excellent. I'm so happy we did this. I'm so happy. Wow. Any day now, any day now, any day now. Come on, one more. Any day now, any day now.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the publishing side and on the recording
Publishing
side.
for sure. Yeah. Because there's neighboring rights and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So on the management side, it's interesting to me how you built it up. You have a marketing person. Well, the founders in the company or the partners in the company, I'm not sure what it is, but and their names are escaping me. I have it here somewhere, but I can't find it.
Oh.
But you had a marketing person and you had a radio person and then another.
Yeah, it's been interesting the way it's been assembled.
Yeah.
Like each
To
one.
talk to people.
Yeah, each one of the managers. Well, there's 6 altogether now, so it's still relatively small, right? Myself, we all manage our own rosters, but at the same time, I have some extra tools in my toolbox. I was a music lawyer for 20 years,
Yes.
so I've got that tool in my toolbox. I've got a little bit of A&R skills, so I've got that tool in my toolbox, and I've got a great Rolodex of contacts.
Agreed.
Keith Hagen, who's one of our managers based in New York, was a serious high-level music publicist for 20 years before he got into the music business. So if you need a phone number or an email of somebody at the New York Times, Saturday Night Live, or the Tonight Show, he's got that covered. Sarah Osgood, who works for us up in Toronto, is again, she does a bunch of things extremely well, but she's an incredible tour manager person in terms of budgets, organizing, production, merchandise, like hardcore admin, making sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
Yeah.
We have another staffer in Vancouver, Casey, who's a younger guy who's like has the history as a DJ, really up in terms of data analytics and digital marketing.
Yeah.
Both Casey and Kate, who work with us in New York, are sort of digital natives, younger people who kind of like grew up in this and just love figuring out how, where, and when to find fans.
Yeah.
And think about it all day.
Yeah.
Every day. Everybody's working really, really hard. So it's kind of complementary. There's some newer people we're bringing into the company too that will fill up some other holes in the organization.
I found it interesting that you had a radio person in there because a lot of people think that I can't take this off, but I found it interesting that you had a radio person in there because a lot of people think that the medium is dying, but to me it showed that it's still a really important piece of the puzzle, especially if you want to break an artist nationwide.
Yeah.
That's how I thought of it.
Yeah, I think having that, I still think it's not as important as it used to be 10 years ago. We all know this.
Yeah.
But life is better if you're on the radio. If you're on the radio, sure.
Yeah.
That's another one of the 24 things that you want on the program.
Yeah.
And so having people who have been in and around radio at a serious level with experience of how it works is invaluable, relationship-wise, experience-wise.
Yeah. What would you say in today's day and age, now you having Hall of Fame, what are those other things in the dozens that you want, the check mark in the box checked to ensure that the career is moving forward and there's momentum there?
It's a bunch of those items that I mentioned already. So, people would argue press and publicity probably not as important as it was 10 years ago, but still important. Still matters.
How come?
You start.
This is what we're going to argue.
Yeah. Well, you start. And again, I prefaced it by saying not as important as it was 10 years ago. I mean, if you had a, great review in Pitchfork or something like that, that could almost change your life overnight. I'm not so sure it does anymore.
No.
And you can get, we've all got those press reports of like coverage in 70 different online, articles or reviews.
Right.
Doesn't move the needle as much as it used to. But then every once in a while, there's a New York Times review that matters. Some people would say being on the Tonight Show doesn't matter anymore, but I think I'd rather be on the Tonight Show than not be on the Tonight Show. I think I'd rather be on Saturday Night Live. Certainly, moves the needle. Jules Holland moves the needle. There's still press, opportunities that still move the needle, just not as much as they used to.
Yeah, no. So I mean, to your point, that's all. Like, I think if you're trying to get a press person to move the needle for you and break you, and all of a sudden you become a superstar because you do a late night appearance, it's not going to work like that anymore. But that's still a good thing for the fans, for your fans and the artists to see as well. Those are wins for the fans and the artists also, just as much as it is for the artists.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you almost have, because it's so expensive, that press piece. You've almost got to be scaling your business to the point where you can actually afford it.
Yeah.
So that you're not bankrupting yourself.
Right.
$4,000 a month for a publicist versus spending $4,000 a month on digital marketing early days makes more sense.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, you start making enough streaming wise and live wise where it's like, get a publicist, be on Jimmy Kimmel,
Yeah.
try to go for SNL, try to get that great review in the New York Times.
This is
try to really
exactly what I needed. It caught me by surprise. My bad. I was off camera squeezing this ingrown hair. Horrible. I have a beard that is a constant battle.
Yeah, that doesn't break you this day and age. Okay, so publicist.
So he's the person
a little bit of radio,
behind the deal with Hypnosis and motherfucking Blackstone. Mauricio, that's it.
Touring piece.
That's
essential.
I knew it was you, dog. I knew it was gonna be you.
Do everything.
That's the alley right there.
Managers,
That's the alley, yo. I'm gonna
there's
come and
like
dunk
10
it.
boxes.
Unless you want me to shoot the three, I could shoot the three, but
checks them all.
Right.
Like,
that's the
you're
alley
gonna,
right there, man.
The best you're gonna do is 7
Plus,
out of 10.
the experience with Drake
There's always something.
at a pivotal time
Not an expert.
when you know that was my
Some
market.
managers are really great and creative. Some
And we do the
better
same
at
thing.
legal,
Yo,
So you try to find the manager.
That's the
checks
Drake
all
album
those
right there.
boxes, and if you're a
tell
smart
Drake I got an
manager,
album for him
you
too.
fill that out
I'll
with
write an
people
album
that
for him. He
can
can have it for
do
himself,
those things.
and then we'll do one together. He gives me one, I give him one.
Did you
I want money up front, but I'm just saying.
For a Hall of Fame?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, so this is just your.
He ain't gonna have no problems with Kendrick after I give him an album. I promise you that.
Easy. You love taking the risk. That's great.
Yeah, I mean we're fortunate in this case. We kind
Unbelievable,
of
yo.
start with a running start.
This is amazing,
So we
yo.
have,
God is
Art
good,
Kells
yo.
and Lights
God
and
is great.
Andy and it's a Super Dukes and
So
our friend
Super Dukes.
Cardinal Official.
Cardinal.
So there's a good client base there, to grow from. I'm not crying in the middle of my office at 4:30 in the morning anymore.
But how important is it that you have a relationship with these artists that they get Chris Taylor on the phone?
Well,
Muted. Chris Taylor has been hired and is officially on the team. You know why? He's dealt with the venture capital. He's dealt with the government loans and grants. So he's gotten private finance money, private equity money, local money, as well as venture capital money, because Blackstone, that's all they do. He has the experience. He's a lawyer. I would just pair him up with Crystal and then let Miss Delgado and him kind of figure out those things, because I included the entire law firm for the IP stuff. So why not just have them work together when that's their strength? And we can go from there. So let's just say 400 million is an estimate. That's what we asked Warner Brother for in 2023. So we're still within range, and we know how much they lost. So those are important factors.
I mean, it's such a small roster. I do have pretty good Some are creative, some are better at
This is the
legal.
highlight of the day right here.
So
I had no
you try
idea
to
it was
find
him.
the manager that checks the most of those boxes, and if you're a smart manager, you fill that out with other people that can do those things.
Prop up your weaknesses.
Yeah.
So delegation of power.
Did you, partner up with somebody for this, for a Hall of Fame?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, so this is just you're funding this one.
Yep. Yep.
He has the budget. He's the angel. He's the
I
investor.
mean, we're
Mauricio, he is the investor, yo. If he's putting up all the money for Hall of Fame, let me see what's the market cap with them.
Cardinal.
You know, so there's a good client base there, you know, to grow from. I'm not crying in the middle of my office at 4:30 in the morning anymore.
Well, how important is it that you have a relationship with these artists that they get Chris Taylor on the phone?
I mean, all of them is such a small roster. I do have pretty good relationships with almost all of them.
Yeah.
You know, Arkells I've worked with, God, it's going on like 15 years. Lights, it's going on 20 years. Cardinal I've just started with, but I talk to him every day.
Yeah.
Super Dukes I talk to pretty much every day, multiple times a day. Keith, who works with me in New York, he has a roster that he's been with and grown with, you know, himself over the last 5 to 10 years. And
Oh man, let's go. Let's go, Bonnie. Pull everything up. I want everything. I want to know everything about everything.
He's been with for a long time. So it's a sort of a different dynamic for every.
Yo, I'm so gonna send this to Josh, yo.
Little contract review, contact somewhere.
Oh my God, this is the dude, yo. It's him. Yo, Mauricio, thank you so much. We need to have the meeting with him.
Mix and match and
We need to have the meeting with him. I just don't want to do it in California. Let's do it in Canada.
What is it that you think keeps the artist having a sustainable career?
I think with both of those acts I mentioned, the long-term ones like Arkells is that band is so driven, you know, starting with their leader Max.
Shout out Max.
Max never sleeps. He loves it. He's an extremely creative person and just loves the whole game and is inspired by it, and has Ashley. You know, Ashley Potter.
Yo, it's him, yo. It's fucking him. What the fuck? So he's putting up the bid? All right. We can work with that. 385 million, that's a low ball, man. I wanted 400. I need more than that.
And Lights is just
No.
a fountain of creativity. You know,
We need to find out how big was that catalog and base the deal based on those numbers.
Doing all the rest of it. She goes forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember meeting Max. It was really interesting when I first met Max because he sought me out, if I'm not mistaken. And this is me like early-ish days management. But I guess he kind of looked into my resume a little bit. And so I remember meeting with him in Yorkville, Four Seasons Hotels. And it was interesting. I was like, why does the lead singer of Arkells want to sit down with me? This guy's doing arenas. In my mind, I think Birchall actually put it together.
Yeah.
And it was kind of reminding me of me a little bit. He's peppering me with questions.
Yeah. Just very curious.
Super curious. And I always
So 54,000. All right, so let's go. Do the math. Go, quick. How much was it? 300.
And I just remember
300.
Okay, this is a part of when
Yo, y'all better stop, man. Y'all know I'm diabetic, man. Hold up.
15 or 20
All right.
years in the business. But I
So,
wanted to ask you that because I mean,
3.
and worked with
Okay, no.
in the business.
Yeah. Well, he's
4,000.
right up there with them, you know, in terms of being an inspiring
385.
leader for that band and just an inspiring human being.
All right.
I feel honored.
So,
It's hard to keep up
okay.
with sometimes, but
Times
oh yeah,
9. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3.
I mean, you've spent time with him, right?
Yo, you better stop playing with me. You better stop
He has
playing. Hold
incredible
up.
questions. He's just learning all the time. And, you know, he loves it. He
Friday.
loves it like I do, like all of us do.
Yeah. Would you say he has the right mix? And would you say a lot of the artists that have really big, successful careers have the right mix of artistry and business?
I would say
This is a good number. This is a good number, Mauricio. That's a good number, yo.
I would say
That's a good number. Okay. We need to have a meeting. That's a good number, yo.
business side down,
That's a
like,
good number, yo.
work ethic.
That's a good number.
Like
For at least.
don't get it.
For at least.
Beyonce, I think we all knows.
That's not a bad number, yo.
Really, really
I
hard.
like that.
You know,
We're gonna ask for more because I'm gonna find out what year it was too.
Nelly Furtado works
2021. So
really
at
hard.
4 years of
Works
inflation.
really, really hard. Like, they're
uh,
extremely driven. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like, oh man, their songs were so good. It's so easy
and
for
the
them.
years line up.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
No, the work, the tour.
So 4 years of interest plus we have to calculate what Warner Brothers
People
lost.
don't realize how much that beats your body. It doesn't matter if you're flying private or you got your bus. Like it's still a demanding schedule. There's a lot of wear and tear in that.
Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah.
Yo, 90
And
billion.
you've got to have that desire, right? Like what inspires
So-
you to continue doing that after you've done it for
Okay, I know how I'm gonna do it. Let's
30
go.
years or whatever.
90
It's just
billion
something you
divided by
love it. I think
64.
you love it. You know,
Is that what keeps you going?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Three.
I love it. I can't do anything else. I got to be around music. I pinch myself every day.
So
It's like,
1.4
how is
times
this a
1.
job?
I
How
know.
did this
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't take it for granted ever.
Yeah.
The number's right.
Man,
That's an accurate number, yo.
it's an honor to have you here, man. I appreciate you taking the time to tell your stories. I really just wanted to hear from you firsthand, and we've spoken before a little bit about it, but
Mauricio, I swear to God, yo,
you give the time.
you want me to stay here for 2 more weeks?
I just think it's amazing. I think it's dope. I like for me.
I'm gonna have to fly from here direct to Canada.
Canada, in the U.S. It's just that's. A big
I'm not
deal.
gonna go all the way to California to then fly back up there. That's too much.
So, I would love to know a couple more things. What's next? Where do you see Hall of Fame artists going? And then I'll save the last question, but tell me where you see Hall of Fame
Yeah, I think
artists going.
what's next? Like today, I love
Yo, no wonder Laurie wanted to have the meeting. Now it makes sense.
a small,
This is what the meeting was about.
you know, as opposed to
Oh my goodness, yo.
all over different time zones. It's been great to spend time like really listening to music more these days and working directly with Dupes and Cardi and the roster. It will be some scaling.
Cardi.
I think I want.
By the way, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Super Dupes is one of my favorite people in this music business. Like legit, like I feel like when I met him, I met an older brother who was like very helpful and very wise and like just thoughtful. And he's like always motivated me in many ways, to continue just doing what I'm doing. He's a good dude.
It's so funny because I spoke to him this morning and he asked me if I knew you. And I said,
Oh, really?
Are you fucking with me? Like, do you know I'm going to be on the podcast? Yeah. And for me, I've always been a fan, like from the outside looking in. I'm a huge reggae fan. So I'm
Right.
like, that guy's the shit. Like,
Yeah.
Man, that guy's so talented.
Yes.
And then being able to work with him and now getting to know him and what a joy he is
Yeah.
to be around. It's
Yeah.
like, again, it's like a pinch me moment. It's like, how is this?
Right.
How is this my job? I have to listen to a new Buju Banton song this morning on the way to work.
Yeah, I have to.
This stinks.
Yeah.
The record is fire. It's
That's
crazy.
sick. That's
I
it.
listened to it 4 times.
Yeah. And the fact that he's bringing Black Chinese back is amazing. That's so fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, SoundCloud, man.
That is such a joy. And I was going to say, putting a bit of the band back together. I do have some management friends that, I want to kind of combine forces with for the better.
I'm in.
The better of all.
I'm in. No.
So there's a bit of that. And
All right, Mauricio, that's what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to hear.
To be closer to film and television again.
Yeah.
Because that is something that gets my juices going.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the artists as well want to compose or be cast in film or work on soundtracks, or I had a lot of fun doing that for the time. that we were at
Hold on, let
E1.
me do the
So
numbers.
I want to get back to that as well and build a strategy around that. side of things.
Nice, you're gonna do it. You're gonna crush it. I mean, you obviously
Oh, man.
so long in in your career. Last question I gotta ask you, and I forget to ask this question every now and again, but I can't forget.
We could start negotiations.
What are 3 books that you would recommend? Doesn't need to be in the music business. Anything that you think are good reads for people to take in.
Oh wow. I mean, everybody should read Donald Passman's Everything You Wanted to Know About the Music Business.
Yeah.
It's in like its
Yeah.
11th or 12th edition now. I buy that for
Yeah.
people all the time. I've got 5 copies on my
Yeah.
shelf at home.
Yeah. I had Chip on the pod.
All right.
Yeah, the early.
Oh yeah, they had a Canadian chapter for a while.
That's
or
right.
something, right?
Yeah, he wrote. Yeah.
There's another book I read. It's called Everybody Lies. I don't know if you've read that
It
one.
sounds familiar.
It's a fascinating read.
Right.
It just kind of like goes into how much everybody lies or stretches the truth,
Okay.
except for myself, of course.
Yeah, except for us on the pod. Yeah.
I just read there's an amusing story. It's called Paper of Wreckage, which was the story of the New York Post.
Yeah.
History of the New York Post. Just for an amusing read. Those would be 3. I could come back to you maybe with some more impressive picks.
No, but I mean, up the
That
top.
Passman book from a work side of things, Everybody Lies, really kind of struck me. Yeah.
I said on the top of the podcast that I thought you were the most well-rounded and accomplished executive that we know from Canada in the music industry. And we now know why. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I really
you, brother.
appreciate it.
This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so quick reflection. We need to have an emergency meeting. I'm gonna start by hitting up Jo. I gotta do some more logistics to see how we're gonna do this travel. The tour is more important than ever. I'm going to form a think tank with Jo to see how we can do this because the time frame is what I'm mostly concerned about. Yo, everything is there. Now it's just, are y'all ready? We're going to sign off on that. Have an amazing day. May you conquer everything in your path. May everything you touch turn into solid gold and silver bars and beautiful and precious gemstones such as moissanite and laboratory-grown diamonds. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. It happened to me, and I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. We'll see you on the next one. I really want to know your guys' thoughts and perspective. And I wish that we had the capabilities to put it on the Discord right now. I'm probably going to work on that tomorrow. And depending on the weather tomorrow, I'll see if we can get this jet off the ground. Holla at your boy. I love y'all, man. Shout out to my family members, my children, my colleagues, my business partners, all my sponsors, all endorsements. Yellow Wolverine is out. The album is fire. I'm going to listen to it right now. Love y'all. Good night.